All right, February 27th, 2025. Welcome to crypto, my friend. You're new here. So I just want to introduce you to our friends. We're going to start with our friend Bitcoin. So here's a quick history lesson. Bitcoin essentially was released into the world by a mysterious entity called Satoshi Nakamoto. I believe it was October 31st of 2008. Um, it's a peer-to-peer decentralized money system. um, it's not necessarily a brand new technology. It just combined a few different technologies that were already existing. People tried to do digital money like Bitcoin all through the 90s and 80s, about five or six really good attempts. I think one was eGold or BitGold or something like that. There's a bunch of them. Anyways, if you want to know the early history, look into Hal Finney. Um, start there on your digging rabbit hole. He was the first one to transact with Satoshi Nakamoto. Um, yeah, so that's Bitcoin. Came out in 2008. It was designed to fight against the corrupt banking system. And you've got to look into money if you want to understand the purpose or reason behind Bitcoin. It's a people's money. So right now we have a currency, the US dollar, and all currencies in the world for the most part are called fiat currency. And fiat, the word means by decree, like the government says this is the money. It used to be largely based on gold for many, many years, sometimes silver. In modern history, all throughout history, money has been anything. It's been seashells, it's been beads, it's been rocks on, like, I think it's called the Pap Islands down in the ocean. And they just kept a ledger of who owned which rock, and that's how much money you had. Anyways, so money's been everything. It was the early days, 2013. I think 2010, someone named Laszlo bought two pizzas for 10,000 bitcoins, and that's called Bitcoin Pizza Day. I think it's in May. And then we fast forward 2013, there was a thing called Mt. Gox, which was the only exchange on the internet. It was originally a Magic the Gathering trading card site. And this is so early days, like there's probably only thousands of nerds in the world playing with Bitcoin and building stuff on Bitcoin at this time, in the thousands, the low thousands, if that, maybe hundreds. And anyways, Mt. Gox crashes, and that causes the first major crash in Bitcoin. Bitcoin gets cut in half every 4 years, the amount of supply coming out into the world. So Bitcoin is created through mining process. Every 10 minutes, X amount of Bitcoin is issued to the miner that wins this competition for solving mathematical problems. That's called mining. And then they get to sell that Bitcoin into the market or keep it or whatever they want to do with it. That's how Bitcoin comes into existence. And every 4 years, that amount gets cut in half. It started at 50. I think we're on our fourth halving now. So you could do the math. I think it's 3.25 every 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I don't keep track of all these nuances. We're just talking about the facts here of how it works. So then you can fast forward to 2017 is when I joined in to Bitcoin. That's when it had its next big peak. So it has just a crazy run. I remember sitting there in November of 2017 when I signed up with my Coinbase account and just watching the crypto market on CoinMarketCap at the time, I believe. And it was going up by billions in an hour or two. I was at a conference thing listening to someone try to talk, but I just couldn't pay attention because I was just watching it. I'm like, holy crap, we're going to get rich. Whatever. And then that's when most people get in, is top. And right now we're in a mid-cycle, hopefully. So hopefully there's a lot of room to go. So if you jump in now, we just had a recent crash, there's a good chance you will have profit. Yeah, there's a lot to it. But Bitcoin is the big daddy. Then in 2016, something called Ethereum came along that was going to take the concept of blockchains and thing like a system that you can't change or hack. Nobody can have total control over it, essentially, a ledger, and then use that to build something called smart contracts and do things with code on the blockchain. So everything runs on code. You don't need people to make decisions. It's all built into the code. That's basically what led to altcoins, so alternatives to Bitcoin. And just do your history research, look up the terms we've talked about here, and you'll figure it out. Then fast forward to today, we had another run up in 2021 and then 22, and then today we're in the mid cycle, like I said, on a way up. But now is the best risk to reward ratio sentiment of the global macro events and how people feel about Bitcoin and what they know about Bitcoin. It's going to be way easier for it to pump now because more people will be willing to buy it for the first time because of everybody else buying it and because of the knowledge and ease of access to understanding it. So depending on how curious you are before you make a purchase or how safe you are or whatever, you're going to need X amount of knowledge, and there's way more better knowledge out there now. That's why. And governments are adopting it. Our current regime, the Trump administration, is super pro crypto and innovation. So you're going to want to look into it. I would just dip my toes in, throw 20 bucks in, whatever. Just put in money that you're willing to lose just as a gamble. And I'm not saying you're going to make a lot of money off of 20 bucks, but yeah, if you let it sit there for 4 or 5, 8 years, you could probably pay a month's rent off of it, but that's a long-term investment. And that's assuming, that's assuming adoption happens, which there's no real reason that it wouldn't, that I can imagine overall, like taking into account tons and tons of data points and angles of how it can be manipulated, how it can be used, whatever, all the other alternative coins like we were talking about, different independent systems within nation states, whatever, you know what I mean? So that's just a basic introduction to Bitcoin. So there you go. Have a good day.